you're investing a lot of money into your business. You're investing a lot of time into your business. Why aren't you investing time into the systems of your business? The only way to find out if that gap is legitimate is finding somebody who's been in the industry for so long that they have these pain points. And if I'm to partner with you and you know this industry, I'll ask you questions so that I can better my knowledge on it. But I want to be able to look at the pain point through your lens. But I also want to, at the same time, not stand in the way of our profit and our revenue. A network is you have a bunch of friends and you help them, and in return they help you. And she goes, yeah, but friends help each other even if they don't help you. And I was like,
hi there. Welcome to Business Leadership Podcast. In this podcast, I interview successful business leaders and industry experts to help you grow and scale your business. In this episode, I had a discussion with Safeer Qureshi. He's a serial entrepreneur, CEO of SPG Media, angel investor, Silicon Valley-based strategies. Launching his first venture at just age 14, Safir has spent nearly 2 decades of building, scaling, and executing companies across tech, media, aviation, medtech, and AI. As a founder and a leader of SPG Media, he empowers founders with a profit-first growth, content mastery, and sales system that delivers real results. An international TEDx speaker delivering impactful talks on our simplicity, momentum, and building lasting ventures. He is known for cutting through noise with a battle-tested, no-fluff advice on a branding, AI-driven scaling, and turning ideas into thriving businesses. Now, this was very interesting discussion. Safir started his journey as an entrepreneur very early age, at the age of 14. He talks about his journey, how he started building businesses and got involved as an investor in many companies. He talks about some of the lessons learned, over the years and some of the obstacles he had to deal with. And if you are business owners, if you're looking to start a new business, don't miss this discussion. I think there's so many nuggets that he shared that you could use to avoid some of the mistakes that he's gone through or I gone through during our journey as a business owners as well. So if you find value in this discussion, don't forget to share and subscribe to this channel and send us your feedback. Until next time, please welcome Safeer Qureshi. Welcome to Business Leadership Podcast. Today our guest is Safeer Qureshi. Safeer, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to the podcast.
thank you for having me, man.
Okay, no worries. You've been working with a lot of different ventures. Safeer, you have involved in a lot of different companies. I'm looking forward to learning from you. Looking forward to learning about your journey as well. So thank you so much for your time, and I'm looking forward to our discussion.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about it.
Okay, so let's talk about where is a lot of time and energy go. You're spending these days. Like, what's the main ventures you up against?
Currently, I'm a part of 26 different companies, jumping into the 27th venture now. We run a company called Code Stack Capital. It's kind of like a private equity firm where we utilize capital to help entrepreneurs grow. And I have various different ventures that I'm a part of, some in Canada, some in the States, pretty much all over the world.
So that sounds like a software company, Code Stack. Is that your expertise, or is it just are you an investor in that company? Or?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually didn't start in software. We are heavily focused on software these days. I think everybody with AI and everyone's trying to get into software. We've been in it for quite a while. I actually started off with a company called SPG Media. It's a media production company that was fairly well known in Toronto, Canada. It got pretty big. And I thought, you know what? I'm a good entrepreneur. Let me start investing in different businesses. And so I started investing in different businesses, started just handing money to all my friends and like, hey, go start a business. I'm going to fund it. And it just kind of went, straight down. And I looked at it and I went, this can't be it. And I thought, okay, maybe it's the industries. All right. So food, fashion, software, I'm never going to get into. By the way, today I'm in all three. And so I realized slowly that it wasn't the industries, it was the systems that I was building. And, since 2018, we've had a really good run of the investments that I've done. Software is something that we really did heavily focus on since around 2018, 2019. I started a company called DataFluent with a business partner of mine that was pretty high up there in Apple. And, I told him I'm never going to do software, but he encouraged me to come down to Silicon Valley. He took me, showed me the Google headquarters, the Facebook, the Apple, and he goes, this is what software buys. And I went, okay, I'm interested. So we started investing, but part of that was when we were building, we saw what people were utilizing the tech for. Some of them were using it very efficiently, some of them inefficiently. And a lot of customers or a lot of clients that we were getting were coming to us saying, like, we don't have the exact resources, or we don't have 100% of the capital. And that's where the second part of our company kind of came in. It was like incubation, integration, helping these companies grow. And that's where CodeStack Capital was born. So CodeStack Capital was like, we're going to take some capital that we've accumulated, and we're going to invest with you. Plus, we're going to provide you with these high-end Silicon Valley developers that come from Google, Microsoft, TikTok, you name it, Apple. And then so that's kind of where this idea was born. Since then, we've invested in various different businesses. Me personally, I've noticed that with AI and everything, you have to sometimes hedge your bet, because when you get into business, sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. So I have various different industries and different ventures that I'm going into. For example, most recently, we're opening up a series of dessert shops all across Canada, and that has nothing to do with software, although software will help.
Got it. But software, my background is a software developer as well. So that a little bit, I key mention. So a lot of upfront investment. Sometimes it takes long to even, get that software in the market. I think there's a lot of approaches to that. You want to get that, product in the market as soon as possible, so you can get some start revenue, generating revenue from it.
Yeah.
But what's more appealing in a software side compared to other? Is it a long term, the return on an investment that you can multiply many times without any a lot of work putting in, or is it just the upfront side of things, that invention side of things, innovation side of things?
There are many upsides to software. My favorite thing is the profit margin.
Once you build, you can multiply.
I'm really good at building cash cows, Gurmeet. And the one thing that I'm good at is, okay, so we started the incubation side of things. And I actually talked about this in my TED Talk, how I met my buddy Nate, and how we ended up really like working together and creating this crazy software that is now used everywhere it's called Knock It Pro, for sales guys all across the States.
That's for door knocking, right? That's an app for the door knocking.
Okay. Yeah. For sales guys, guys in pest control, guys in insurance, the guys that download their leads, input, and it's a routing, door knocking CRM style app. Has been doing really well. And then, from there, I was like, oh my God, we can really do, if we do it right. And we took that system and we copy and paste it multiple times. Now, it wasn't just a software system. What we did is we started looking at entrepreneurs that have ideas that have just been sitting there, entrepreneurs that, maybe have done 5 million plus, or at least have spent 4 or 5 years in their industry, minimum of 5 years, I think. It was our criteria at the time. Now it changes depending on the entrepreneur, depending on the industry, depending on the business. And so we looked at that and we said, why don't we go get people who would be customers for this first, that can have strong input on pain points and that can easily sell this to everybody in the industry. Then we said, why don't we try and selling this before we build it? And so we have a system where we'll actually go around, do surveys, do research, and actually go and talk to different people and bring the person who's been in the industry on board, make them the judge, jury, executioner of this whole thing, and just make them like, okay, how should we build it? And we don't just build the software, we build their system that's been successful over and over again, that's generating them revenue and profit. And then we multiply it by just selling that software. And it's been successful over and over and over again. That's been our little secret sauce.
Very interesting. Yeah, so it's a speed to get to the market. I think that solved that problem, right? So you don't have to wait till all the bugs are worked out and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, the way we do it is we find enough customers to beta test it for us, right? Mm-hmm. We sell the thing. We make them dependent on the thing in a good way, right? Where their business is running very, very smoothly and they basically can't function without it. Everybody that's helped us basically, build this thing out and beta test it, they get put on like a early adapters, price range that stays with them for lifetime. And then we go sell the hell out of it.
Got it. Okay. So what's the other venture you just mentioned, that you doing something in a food business, or was this a second one you just mentioned you getting into?
Yeah. So, I mean, look, I've done, I've been a part of various different businesses. And I realized that, especially during COVID, that there's no such thing as like all industries or all businesses doing well at the same time, or at their peak rather at the same time. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you just need to hedge your bet. And so there was a young entrepreneur who kind of reminded me of myself. And he came and he's like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I saw him making the same mistakes that I was making, but I kind of saw him being a little bit smarter than I would have been at his age. And so I said, you know what, you have the right idea. I think you're going to need help with the approach. And I looked at what I was doing at the time. Everything was in software, everything. And my parents, I love my parents, and they always were like, what is he doing? What does he do? We don't see it. And then eventually when they saw some video production, like, you're doing video production? What is software? What kind of software? What do you do? Who's going to buy this, et cetera, et cetera. So it was a fun little thing for them to see, like, okay, they're going to be building out something tangible. And I have done stuff, Limitless Tire, the largest rim and tire shop in Canada. We partnered off, and we're also creating something that is called Fitted Rims, that helps people visualize wheels on their cars and helps them sell wheels by connecting them directly to suppliers and all of that. I've been a part of that, and I've seen how helpful it can be. Obviously, those businesses are much harder to manage because there's a lot more physical labor involved. There's a lot more factors involved than there are with software. It's a different kind, but it's also just a good way of hedging your bet if you're like an entrepreneur that can't sleep and needs to do something.
Well, kudos to you in that area. I've seen a lot of business owners and I talk to a lot of them, Safir, that is generally approach that you build the first business. When you get stable in a business, you get enough capital, then you move on to other businesses, and then you start acquiring or whatever you got to do. But in your case, not you didn't wait for that to go very, very to the different level. You just moved on to many different industries. So kudos to you. A lot of people don't have that kind of bandwidth, or simply just don't have that kind of drive to get into a lot of business. Like, for my example, I took so long. I'm still in IT. I'm looking to buy companies, but you moved on very, very early on. So kudos to you that you looked at many different industries and find opportunities and start helping people.
Yeah, I think it's my ADHD. I can't sit still. I have to be doing something. So, business sometimes requires a lot of patience. And so sometimes when you're sitting and waiting and you're like, okay, well, if I take more business on, like, for example, if we're waiting for like a video contract to come through, and it's like, yes, we should be doing more sales, but like, if I take certain things on, these guys, my team might not have the capacity. What do I do? So I think it's just a lot of like, tripping and falling because I want to try this and I want to try that. And so just trial and error.
Well, the trial and error has a lot of lessons learned over the time as well, right? More trial and error you have, more lessons you're going to have. So you can help a lot of younger people coming in the similar field because you just have too many lessons learned that you can share that with the people to help them out to avoid a lot of mistakes that you made.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. I think one of the things that has made me the most money is helping other entrepreneurs, taking their ideas and bringing them to market, right? And that's what Code Stack Capital is kind of about. We take a look at the ideas that you have. For example, Nate was in the insurance industry, and that's where it kind of came about. We have a close friend of mine now, started off as a business partner, Whit Hollis. He works for United Airlines. He is he flies a 757, huge aircraft, and he's got some pull. And he had an idea. We partnered up, and he's an expert, an absolute expert in his industry, and he took an idea that honestly, I don't think anybody really that I know would be able to pull it off in the aviation industry, right? And pull something off that he's doing. The app's called Rendezvous. It's for pilots and flight attendants and aircrew to connect. And I don't think I could have found any other partner. He's crazy. Whit's crazy. He's so about it. He's so locked in, and he's had this idea. And I loved helping him bring his vision to life, and I love working with him because he's part of that business, which I'm not, which is like staying on top of things, making everything is like good to go, keeping me in line, just making sure that I have that accountability as well. And I love working with people like that.
It's I think in olden days it used to be the finding new ideas, doing something totally new that nobody has done it. But these days, working in an industry and finding new, something, either new ways of doing something or finding something that whatever the gap is and filling the gap in, that seems to be innovation is these days. And I think that's what the idea of success, instead of just looking for the totally brand new idea.
Yeah, but you're absolutely 100% correct. But the only way to find out if that gap is legitimate is finding somebody who's been in the industry for so long that they have these pain points and they go, man, if I could solve, and you'd be surprised. Sometimes you get into industries and you go, why hasn't anybody else done this? Why? And they just go, I don't know. I guess it's just like,
Never
or sometimes, sorry, go ahead.
never thought of it. It's, people just never thought of it the same way it did.
Or if they did, they didn't have the resources to put it together. There are lots of times where we'll build something in an industry and we'll start selling it. Like, for example, fitted rims, Fitsy, we'll go and we'll sell it to auto shops and they go, man, I had this idea so long ago, but I didn't have the resources to build it. So they're very grateful to have that be a part of the industry.
Very interesting. Yeah, it's I heard a lot of young people, Safir, ongoing basis. That skill set, the mindset you're reflecting, that is a bigger gap in those people. And I'm trying to think, what are you doing differently that people who are listening to us? I heard a lot of young people, because technology is as you know, a lot of young people. The biggest pushback I get is a mindset, this growth mindset. That, listen, I want to do something new. I want to figure something out. I want to improve something.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to figure out what you done something different. How did you develop that mindset, and how can I tell these people, hey, listen, follow this path, you could achieve something similar?
Yeah. So when Michael Jordan was playing in the Chicago Bulls, when he was on the Chicago
Bulls, best time for basketball.
Yeah, exactly, right. So people asked the coach, like, what was the strategy? He said the strategy was give the ball to Jordan and stay the F out of his way. Right. Mm-hmm. So I think in a manner of speaking, that's kind of what we do. We find entrepreneurs that are really, really good at what they do. We hand them the ball, build the software, and we stay out of their way. Right. We let them do the sales. We let them bring the pain points. We don't try to intervene where we're not needed. We do mm-hmm. help. And sometimes, we come in and we will take a piece of knowledge that we've taken from another industry to innovate, and they'll go, I didn't know about this, or maybe
so
we
cross
can,
industries.
Exactly.
So finding something that works cross industry and bring it. Okay.
Yeah. But if I'm to partner with you and you know this industry, I'll ask you questions so that I can better my knowledge on it. But I want to be able to look at the pain point through your lens. But I also want to, at the same time, not stand in the way of our profit and our revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only way I can do that is to not tell you how to do your job.
I've seen so many of these scenarios, over 600-700 people probably I talked to over the years. That's the first thing they want to do is to tell you what to do, which way to run, because they know that worked in their business. They want to bring the same approach to your business as well, right? But you talking totally separate. You simply saying, okay, get out of the way. They know what they've been working on. Let them excel at that.
Absolutely. All of the businesses that we work on, they require some sort of marketing or some sort of sales. And really good marketing teams fail when they don't know anything about your business. So you could be in the same industry, and if marketing teams come and they look into your business and they don't quite understand it from your lens, they're not going to be successful. That's just within your company alone. Yeah. Now imagine going into a company, looking at something, not knowing or anything about that industry, or just knowing enough that you've read online, or you kind of think that you know better than the person who's been in the industry for 10 years, and then just coming in and going, no, we'd like to do it this way. No, we'd like to do it that way. I think that's where most companies have their point of failure.
I hired 4 of them over the last few years. Safir, you speaking to somebody who've gone through that. I hired 4 of them. They all have a proven way of doing things. I say, okay, if you get a proven way of doing things, show me. And they fail. It's because they're not listening to what I'm simply telling them. Hey, listen, this is my research of the market. This is my take on the market. This is my understanding of the market. If you go this way, you'll be successful. No, we have a proven way. All right. Yeah. But then you fail.
Yeah, because they don't understand how you've been doing your business. The best type of marketing companies are not those who just market for you. The best type of companies that do marketing, or marketing companies, are those that act like a marketing department. When you have a marketing department, you're working in conjunction with sales, you're working in conjunction with customer service, you're working in conjunction with operations. And most marketing companies, unfortunately, just run ads. That's the best way of putting it. Like, let me try different ways of running ads. It's not really how it works. And that's why, even though I have a middle ground marketing team, I try my best to kind of individualize in each company. And even if it is like the centralized marketing team, I'll take them off certain projects just so they can learn the company better, right? And then the industry better.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. So is that what SPG is about? The SPG Media, the company, is that, or is it just a purely production and the video editing side of things?
No, SPG Media is a film and video production company. That's it. So we've done a lot of cool stuff. We worked on lots of interesting TV shows, and we've worked with Jordan Peterson, Daily Wire, done stuff with Netflix, et cetera, et cetera. So we mainly just focus on film production. That's it.
Got it. Jordan Peterson, you mentioned that the new university he's setting up. Did you guys have anything to do with them, or just as
No,
show?
no, no. We didn't. We actually did some of his specials with Daily Wire. We actually started off when he first joined Daily Wire to do a lot of his stuff. Spent about 3.5 months with him, even traveling with him. We went to Newfoundland. It was a lot of fun. It was very interesting. Lots of cool things. People ask me like, how is he? Is he any different? I'm like, well, he just speaks in quotes. But I did learn a lot of interesting things from him. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to know his stuff. The books were very interesting. And he seems to be, he's been teaching for a long time, so it looks like he knows his stuff very well.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. So let's talk about some of the lessons to learn. So you've been working with the entrepreneurs. Some of them, definitely it's, not everybody's going to be successful. Very small numbers going to be successful, and sometimes that's all you need to make your money back. What do you see some of the failures in this area? Like if somebody starts a business, or what do you see some of the challenges people struggle with?
I think too many people get way too much in their head about how complicated business should be. That's to me, people overcomplicate things, right? I always say to get you only need to do two things. One, get business, and two, keep the business. To get the business, you need to do sales. To keep the business, you need to do customer service. I've seen people that have really crappy products outperform by like 10, 12x companies that have really good products because they have good sales and good customer service, right? I think the two main areas that you need to focus on is selling the damn thing and keeping the damn customer. That's it. There's no,
I see.
And I like to think of myself as somebody who's not very smart. I don't like to get into, whenever there's a complicated process, I don't try to pretend to understand it. I just go, guys, I don't get it. It could be as simple as, the car goes from point A to point B. And until I totally understand it, sometimes I'll understand it, but I'll still start to, ask them to dumb it down even more. So it's number one, don't pretend to understand things. Don't think you're smarter than you actually are. Don't pretend it, just don't pretend. And number two, focus on sales and customer service. Once you have that, that's going to be a big, big part of your business. And number three, I'll say, is don't confuse revenue with profit. I think way too many people do that. They want to get to their first million, first 100,000 in revenue. I've seen companies that are doing multi-million in sales, and they're either in debt because they didn't take into account certain things, and not good kind of debt, really bad debt, or they're not making any profit. They're making maybe like 0.3, 0.4% profit before paying themselves. Yeah. So,
I see that a lot. I know it's especially in my industry. I made that mistake early on in a business as well. But I see. I would say 95, 96% of companies in IT industries, they're all in the same boat. That even though that revenue is high, but profit margin is probably 5 or 10% most, which is insane. You can't.
And that's why I love software, because the profit margin is like 85, 90%.
Beautiful.
Right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you can sell something for like $30, even $10 a month, and the profit on that will be like $8. So now you just need volume.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. When I looked at it, going into business for my corporate life, the first thing was, because my background was software developer, I was J2E developer. So I thought about software. It just upfront that hard work, that the time it takes to get to the market. Those years it was very hard to increase the speed. That's why I shied away and I got into service business. But I'm always very intrigued by the software development business. So all these the development projects you guys doing here in Canada, or they doing some in the US as well?
So we're a little bit all over the world, but mostly in the US. We have some stuff in the Middle East, some stuff in Canada, but we all know where it's not called the Canadian dream, right? It's called the American dream. So it's better to do business in the States always. And, their dollar's strong, and no matter what, the economy is doing all right. And we try to focus heavily on businesses where, like I said, the entrepreneurs have, immense expertise. And then we make the businesses, we become a crucial part of the business. So unless you're going to shut down your business, you can't really shy away from our product. So, yeah.
So the reason I ask, how's the talent pool compared to US? What's going on in the US at the moment with the talent pool guns? And especially, we have a lot of technology entrepreneurs in a Toronto area as well, in Ontario. So our talent pool compared to their to find these resources?
Well, I'll tell you this much: a lot of people from Canada go over, especially from Waterloo. Silicon Valley likes to pick their talent from Canada. So I'm not saying
Hmm.
we're smarter. I'm just saying some of the smartest people have come from Canada. That's all. But no, I think. Look, there's 10 times more people. There's 10 times more variety. There's a lot smarter people. There's a lot dumber people. That's all I'll say. But I do think that a lot of talent that goes from Canada to the U.S. stays in the U.S. for a good reason, right? Even though we say we have universal health care and all of that, but come on,
Money's not there. So,
yeah.
so beside money, what are we doing wrong? Even the AI, when before it became a mainstream, it was from Waterloo Labs. That's where it started, the whole AI projects. So what are we doing? What do we have to do to keep the talent here? It's not opportunities not there, or is it a money? Or exposure? What are we doing? What are we not doing in our market that these people graduate and first thing they do is run to US?
I think capital is definitely a part of it, right? And there is definitely, like I said, when there's more people, there's more opportunity. That's just like 1 to 1, right? And everybody that graduates from Waterloo wants to go work at. I think they're now called the Mango. They were called Fang at one point. The big companies, right? The Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, OpenAI, right? Google, you name it, right? So they want that on their resume. And then you want to go to Silicon Valley. It's just like the dream to go there, right?
Yeah.
It's like I work for Google in California, and this is what I do. And trust me, I've worked with lots of people there. Some of them are very happy, but most of them, once they hit their 6 month or a year mark, and they're starting to feel it, and either I miss my family, or even though I'm making $250,000, I'm barely making enough to survive here. So it's kind of like a up and down. A lot of people are coming back. I just got a place in Texas. People are starting to go to Austin and Dallas and Houston.
That's what I heard,
So,
that companies moving out of California to Texas.
yeah, well, because there was a lot of this like bubble, the unicorn bubble, right? Like, okay, let's just
Hmm.
invest a bunch of money in a bunch of companies. One of them is going to hit $1 billion. That's what really Y Combinator was all about. It's still all about. And I think that's why, like me, I'm not that smart. I'm not smart enough to be like, is this company going to do this? I'm dumb enough to know, like, I'm just going to go where the cash comes from. I just want to build a cash cow. So I think people are starting to now move more towards revenue-based businesses. And where's the money? Let's follow the money. Let's get the money now, not in 10 years. And I think that's what's kind of making the shift to a lot of companies. A lot of talent is being now let go, and people are starting to do their own thing, whether it's moving to Austin. So I don't think I don't think there's much that we really need to do. I think, when it comes to talent and staying within Canada, I do definitely think that the government of Canada needs to provide certain incentives for people to stay here, because I don't think that the private sector is going to take off on its own. I know there's certain leeways and there's certain grants that they've given, et cetera, et cetera. I do think there might be a little bit more room there. But outside of that, and I'm not just talking about, by the way, to private
Hmm.
companies, I'm talking to individuals, right? And I think that if the government supported the startup culture a bit more, talent would definitely, because not only stay here, but they're gone to the States, they've taken their training from big tech, and now they might have an incentive to come here and work.
Yeah, we'll create tons of opportunities for these people so they can come back to that, right? So,
Yeah.
so are you only involved in startups or early stages, Safir, or is it also that the business built for a long time? They may be somebody looking for exit, or there's a lot of M&A kind of process going on in Canada. Are you involved in that as well, or just simply startup?
I'm involved in all sorts of phases of different businesses. Uh, me personally, me personally, I like the startup phase because number one, you can play around with more equity there, and there's not a dead set way of doing things. We get to learn more about the industry. We get to learn more about the entrepreneur, and it's more of a discussion rather than we're just building this for you as a project or like buying something that you've already built and going through all of that. But that being said, our company DataFluent is divided into three parts. The first part is um, the the first part is development and consultation. So the first part is consulting and development. The second part is the incubation and integration. And then the third part is like self-funded projects. So our developers might have an idea and we're like, okay, we'll put some capital behind it. We'll see if we can market it and kind of go from there. So we're kind of involved in all areas. Sometimes entrepreneurs will come up to us and the opportunity will be amazing, but their business is already built out and and we'll take that. But me personally, I prefer the early stages.
Got it. And it's all these companies are here in Ontario or Canada, or is it overseas as well? Are you involved in some projects overseas?
We are involved in certain projects overseas. We've done stuff with governments. In 2024 we did a project with the Dubai Police. We are involved in doing stuff overseas for sure. Obviously, that requires a little bit more digging into, but outside of that, we're open to anything really.
Yeah. There gonna be a lot of talent pools in India for these projects as well, right? Because there's tons of schools and
Yeah.
universities that are creating a lot of talent there.
There is, and you know what? Because of now, like Claude and Lovable and all these, the quality of that talent is kind of improving as well. Before it was like if you go to India or somewhere else, you might not get the, level of quality, as the younger generation grows up, that communication barrier is dying down as well.
Yeah, very interesting. Okay, so what's opportunity looks like? Looking a couple of years ahead. Where you going to be working on, and even especially in the early stages in a businesses. It's gonna it see there's a hope, there's opportunities going to get bigger and bigger, or is there, we built enough software that AI is simply going to integrate a bunch of softwares and there's no need to build a lot of new softwares.
Ooh, okay, that's kind of a loaded question, but I'll say this much. It's like the internet. Things are going to evolve, and those who evolve with it are going to stay, right?
Mm-hmm.
You still need somebody to make sure, to monitor, to make sure that it's being utilized properly, and you still need somebody to run, sometimes build, especially now, monitor and make sure you improve. There's maintenance, there's growth. So, there's lots of different ways that you can integrate. I don't think that there's ever going to be a need where that is completely fulfilled by AI and there's no human, involvement need whatsoever. I don't think that that's ever going to happen, but I do think that, you have to learn to evolve with it. Companies are going to be transformed. They're not just going to disappear, they're going to be transformed. Now, those that don't adapt, yes, they're going to disappear. But the telecommunications, for example, to this day, they still run. To this day, we still need human interaction. And this is just my personal belief, just because I've been around AI so much. I think that the closer that AI gets to being as human as possible, the more there's going to be need for human interaction in this world. I've just been around AI so much to see that, like, oh man, it's good to actually have a conversation with a human being, that doesn't sound so perfect. That doesn't sound, so I think the more of that happens, the more we're going to need to actually get back to our roots of human interaction.
Well, the two areas you mentioned critical for business or business leaders is sales, generate revenue, and the customer service. These are the two areas where human interactions are so required. You can use tools for customer service, same as you can use a bunch of tools for sales. But at the end of the day, people want to buy from people, or customer service people want to be served by people, right? So that human, emotional connection, you can't replace that with any technology, right? That always going to be required. Maybe different expectation, different levels of it, but that's going to be part of it.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you something. You've been in sales, as an entrepreneur, when do you make the easiest sales? On the phone, over Zoom, or in person?
Oh, I'm always prefer the person.
Yeah. Everybody,
Yeah.
people who are being sold to, because that builds trust. In fact, there's going to be less trust, like
you can't replace that human connection, that when we sit in front of each other and we talk business, that trust we build, that the connection we build.
Yeah.
There's no such a technology can replace that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, things are going to, scams are going to grow. People are going to trust less, and it's just going to be a lot easier to deal with you in person than somebody on Zoom that kind of looks like you and is acting like a human being.
Yeah. And same as customer service as well, right? So you can provide as many solutions you want to over the internet, but end of the day, if the issue comes, they want to know who they can call, and that somebody can come on site and fix that issue.
Exactly. You're on the phone with your telephone provider or your bank, and he goes, "I'm an automated system. I can help you. Press one for this," and you're like, "Customer service,
Yeah,
customer zero zero," right? So like,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. Human interaction is irreplaceable.
Yeah, a lot of our clients comes to us, Safir, we provide IT departments. So a lot of clients come to us because they tried overseas companies before. They tried, Singapore, India, all those companies that try overseas. They can get a service, but they don't have a human connection to them, right? So nobody can come on site to the business and talk to them, and that is the biggest success been for us. We simply can go locally, simply, hey, let me sit down with you. Let's figure it out together, and we find the best solution for you. I think that connection, that conversation, that trust you cannot replace with the overseas or with the video calls or whatever you want to try.
Yeah, and I think Amazon had this really locked down. When I first started doing like software, I realized that any software that's built, if you're trying to, now they have like live chat with AI and all this other crap, but whenever I tried to talk to somebody, didn't matter where it was, whether it was a bank, my telephone company, my internet company, whatever. They tried everything to avoid getting you to customer service as a human being because of how much it actually costs, right?
Yeah,
But Amazon would do the opposite. They would get you to a human being as fast as possible. They give you a couple of options. If you said no, 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 boom, straight to a human being, right?
yeah.
And I started looking at that and I said, guys, even if we're building an app, and if you go into Knock It Pro right now and you go into settings and you need help, you have a phone number that gets you directly to a human being, and you have a chat that gets you directly to a human being, right? And that's what people want because
You
they
can't
feel
replace
like they're
that.
talking to a person, not a
Hmm.
machine. And yes, AI, makes it better, but there's no way it can replace it.
You can go to Google for any if you're doing advertisement any that you can go to the chat and try to solve a problem. They have deployed AI solutions to that and very smart. They will know exactly what account you're calling for. They will have a proper solutions. They walk you through how many different kind of problems you have. They can solve. Very smart. It's sometimes you can't believe they know exactly what you're trying to do, but still you're looking for that button. So listen, talk to us or a chat button. Even that during the conversation, whatever the topic, you're still looking for the button. Hey, where's the phone number I can call, and where's the chat button I can click and talk to somebody live.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I usually look for too.
Yeah,
That's why I'm like, how can I talk to a human being now, right?
yeah,
And it was the same thing with like when we first started doing stuff with SPG Media, and we were like higher ticket items, right? The average video was costing like, or the average video campaign was like $25,000, right?
hmm,
And to build a commercial, people, you see it for 30 seconds and you're like, okay, but you don't realize that somebody spent 100 grand on that commercial, right? So, um, we what we realized is that human interaction, it didn't matter. Like when we first started, all my clients would have my cell phone number. They'd call me at 2 o'clock in the morning.
yeah.
And they would, in fact, I have a funny story that I tell all the time. There was a client that would get so clingy. And if they saw me on WhatsApp online, they would just call me at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, oh, I saw you
Uh,
were online, so I just thought I'd call you. And I was like, okay,
yeah,
well, you're paying me a lot of money, so yes. Like, how can I help you?
yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't even say no.
Yeah.
But that's what people look for. As fast as I can, how can I get to a human being that can help me?
Very interesting. Somebody calling you 3 in the morning just because they saw you online. I mean, that's
Oh yeah.
that's challenging. And how do you deal with that stuff?
But I tell you what, if he went to any other video production company, in fact, the whether it's a media production company, film production company, nobody was going to answer his question at 3 o'clock in the morning. And
Yeah,
he would have these crazy ideas that I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and be like, what if we did this? What if we did that? And
yeah,
anytime I could have just locked him in at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to send it to you, sign it, let's go. Right. And he would do
yeah.
it. Like there were times where I was like,
Wow.
can I send it to you? And in the morning, he'd talk to his team and have it signed. Right. So nobody else was getting that business at 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe AI could now to a certain extent, but not
Not too,
exactly.
yeah, and not to the level where humans can do the business.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, business leaders who are watching, Safir, you work with a lot of business as well here in Canada, or simply just looking for investment opportunities. Do you help a lot of businesses?
Yeah. Well, I'm always down to help any business that I love to connect with entrepreneurs because helping them a lot of times unlocks this like new level of knowledge that I never previously had. Sometimes it's super minor, but then it'll help me in a major way, right? It's like, what if we tried this way, right? Or tried that way. It's like, this works in this industry, but it also works in this industry, and it could change that industry. So always down to connect with different entrepreneurs, talk to entrepreneurs, see what kind of journey they've had, what kind of stories they have, and learn from that and help them along the way.
So what kind of problem people trying to solve when they connect with you from a business standpoint? Like, people with established, are they trying to solve a communication problem, or is it a connection problem? What is it trying to solve?
Majority of the time, it's like sales and marketing, right? Most people are like, how do I grow my sales and marketing? That's just
Okay.
kind of how, that's where the question that everybody has, how can I make more money? But a lot of times it's operations. A lot of times it's like, hey, there's this one person that's essential to my company, but they're giving me a ton of trouble. What do I do, right? Or, hey, I'm okay with the revenue that I'm making. Can I do something internally to maximize my profit? Or like, hey, you've grown this business in this industry. I'd like to know what they did right, because it seems like I'm doing everything right, but I'm still not at the level where they are. So it's different problems for different entrepreneurs, different industries, and sometimes just a conversation will help them. Uh, but a lot of times the conversation will help me in a way that they don't even realize.
Yeah, because the solving problem is the same in a business, right? So it just could be different logic, different problem we're trying to solve, but it's usually the same approach, and we learn from each other as when we solve those problems, right?
Absolutely.
So does that become part of the strategy? Large companies, they definitely have a marketing heads, they have a marketing strategy people. So those are the people you connect with, or you connect with the top with the president, CEO of the company.
Usually it's the president and CEOs. Usually it's the CEOs that they come by and they'll connect me with their like, hey, this is what my marketing department's doing. Can you take a quick look at it? And how do you guys do it? Or have you done it in the past? And sometimes the problem is so simple. It's staring at them in the face, but they're so deep into it that they don't realize. And a lot of times I'm like, well, have you tried this? They'll go back and I won't hear from them for 6 to 8 weeks. And they'll come back and they go, holy crap, it was really this simple all along. So
Yeah, when we work in a business, and I'm guilty of that as well. We work in a business.
yeah.
There's so many details to pay attention to, and when you're so much into it, and you're gonna miss a lot of blind spots. And that's why you need people, from somebody from looking from outside with expertise, and say, listen, you're missing this blind spot. Let me help you cover those blind spot. I think that's where expert like you come in. Simply say, listen, you're not paying attention to this. Let's solve this problem. It will help you with other ones as well.
Yeah, I think one thing that I'm really good at is like people like to make things very, very complicated. I've tried this, I've tried that. They use, acronyms like CTR and all of this. And so I just go in and I go, well, what's happening? Like, let's break the problem down as much as possible. Let's simplify it. Okay. So you were making sales, now you're not making sales, and it's died down. You tried all these different things and this didn't work. Okay, what did you try within these things? What happened? What were you doing before that was working? Oh, well, the industry changed. That can't be it. Let's take a look at a little bit deeper. And then it's almost always something that they didn't even realize they were doing right and they stopped doing it. And so I'm really good at simplifying processes and making them so they're adaptable and that they work.
Interesting. One of the items I saw, Safir, recently is, especially with the COVID, is a lot of training side of things, production and the training videos and all that stuff. So, because people have a high turnover, people getting sick, how do you train people and how do you get the work out of them and as fast as you can? And I think a lot of business owners struggle with that. What process they have, what content they have built when they bring somebody from outside to train them to get a work out of them. And I think the gap was way too big in the COVID. I think a lot of companies struggle with that area, especially because they were not prepared for that. It happened all of a sudden. Do you help our business in this area as well? Because I know tons of people, they try to build those training and product and service videos so they can train their staff on their product and services ongoing basis.
It's very simple. Just have a good system, right? Your sales aren't doing good. Let's take a look at your system. Your people are leaving you. Let's take a look at your system, your compensation system. Let's, if people are coming in and they're not being trained as well and you're not getting the maximum value for your investment, let's take a look at your training system. And the best training system that I've found is to actually give them study material, whether it's videos. A lot of people, they just go, here's a video, watch it, because they're more concerned about getting that person on, whether it's the assembly line or just, I want to get them to work as fast as possible rather than, like I said, marketing companies fail when they don't understand your business. Your goal should not be to train this person as fast as possible. It should be to train this person as well as possible in the fastest time, right? There's a difference. Training somebody as fast as possible, they're going to make a lot of mistakes, but as well as possible in the fastest time, it's like, okay, now let's focus on what is actually needed. And if you give them study material and you actually invest time, it doesn't take more than like 2-3 weeks, and you build a system, and everybody that comes in, kind of like giving their driver's license exam, their written exam, they understand like the basics of it, and then they can spend, a couple days actually training. That is a system that we found has never failed.
So you help companies build that content as well.
We actually have a company that does that. We have and we've done some custom solutions as well. But we have companies that offer solutions that will actually build you these training systems based on not just the industry, but what your company actually requires.
Yeah, a lot of companies, I know they don't have a resource to build that. I think that's where they struggle, how to build the content, how to build the material. So they simply just have a written notes here and there instead of, and these days people less reading and they're watching more. So producing that content, I think that's very helpful for people.
Yeah, sometimes, but like, look, the guy's here to get a job, right? Way too many. There's a couple of things. The first thing is you're investing a lot of money into your business. You're investing a lot of time into your business. Why aren't you investing time into the systems of your business? Every single system, not just sales, not just HR, not just operations, but every single one of them, all 3, all 4, whatever the systems are that you have in place, those should be invested in with your time, your expertise, and your knowledge, right? Yeah. So invest in that, make something that will actually satisfy you. If somebody understands all of this, take a week, 2 weeks, and you'll be surprised, right, at how fast you can build this thing. The second thing is that they're like, okay, I want to make it as easy as possible for them to learn and move on. It's like, no, you're paying this person. You're doing your job, great, make it easy, but they should work for it as well. You want somebody that actually will read the material, that will watch the videos. It's easy to skip through videos, get to the end, and just kind of fill out what you need to fill out. You don't just need somebody to pass the test. You need somebody to understand your business.
Yeah. Somebody, they can add some value to it instead of just trying to do the daily job, whatever needs to be the minimum required.
Exactly, right? If somebody is, let's just say, parking lot attendant, and they're just like, okay, this is how many cars need to be filled. This is my job. 100 cars, and they all filled them diagonally because they don't really care. They're technically done their job. But if you teach somebody the system and why it's important, maybe even incentivize them, that's part of another system, they're going to try and squeeze every single car they can in there as safely as possible and help you maximize your profit and revenue.
Yeah, very interesting. So let's talk about your Safir. What's up? 2026? Next year's. What's up for you? What's the plan?
2026 is going to be an interesting one. So 2025, I did things that I, had planned out. And I just really, really focused hard on them. And I not only exceeded that, but I learned so many different things that I couldn't implement them in 2025. I well surpassed what I intended, whether it was revenue, whether it was through my companies, whether it was growth. I think we hit and exceeded every single goal by at least 2x at the very least. And now I've learned things that I'm going to be implementing. We've had new businesses that we are now merging and acquiring and incubating and helping. So I think the best thing for me to say is more of 2025 and a lot of new stuff in 2026. It's hard for me to even sit and explain, but I think there's going to be a lot more interesting things, and I'm very open about my things. I share them on my Instagram. I sometimes will share them with the different entrepreneur groups that I'm a part of. People are always looking at, okay, what's he up to? Where can we help invest, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm very open in terms of what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. And all of that, and a few dessert shops.
They're all here in Ontario, or they're all over Canada?
Our first is going to be in Calgary. It's called Chocoberry. It's a dessert franchise out of London, and they have locations in Dubai. They're going to be opening locations all over the world, but we acquired the license to open in Canada. Our first location's opening in Calgary, hopefully within the next 2 weeks. And then after that, all over Ontario.
Anything special about these desserts?
You're gonna have to come and taste it for yourself. I think.
Hey, I'll wait
I
for them
think.
to come in here.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, well. The one thing that's different, it's not just a dessert shop; it's also brunch. But one thing, like I said, the customer service, that's great. But when it comes to food, the taste has to be out of this world. I'm very picky with my food, and I only give every restaurant one chance.
Yeah. But the customer service, even in the food, definitely the food has to be there, but the customer service is key. I think if the customer service is not there, you're not going back to the restaurant.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you a story. For my brother's birthday in 2024, we went to a place in Dubai that made a steak that felt like it was boiled. It was horrible. And I called the lady over and I said, come on, like this is horrible. You guys are a fancy rooftop place, and this is so bad. I'm so sorry. Let me take it back. The manager comes in, we're really sorry. We're going to bring you a new one. They brought it again. And I looked at it and I said, this is a rubbery and chewy. I don't know what to do with this. I was frustrated. Yeah. And I'm like, I really don't know what to do here. The guy came, he said, look, we just opened like a week and a half ago. We're trying different things. I apologize. He was not only so extremely apologetic, he made conversation with us. Mm-hmm. And he found out, what my brother's favorite cake or dessert was. He went outside to a bakery, got a cake, right? And he just kept saying, I'm really sorry. You guys are always welcome. I'll take care of the meals. Don't even worry about paying. His customer service was so good that I never go back if the food is that bad or even remotely. Yeah. But it was so good that I was like, I thanked him. As frustrated as I was like, thank you so much. You've been amazing. Because, there's a book by Will Guidera called Unreasonable Hospitality. Mm-hmm. I read that a little bit, but I went back and read it again. And because that guy was, I don't know if you read the book or not, but he was.
I haven't, yeah.
Well, he was the embodiment of that thing. He was so first of all, he was Egyptian, and Egyptian people, they're already very, very emotional people, so he was already very in a good way. He was just extremely apologetic, extremely, I'm sorry, don't even worry about this, and I'm going to go get you a cake, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And anytime you guys come here, ask for me. And I was like, damn, I walked away learning so much from that guy. And I thought, hey, I thought my emotional intelligence was high. This guy just rocked me out of the sea. This is crazy. And so, you're right. Customer service can definitely turn everything around.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, I gotta get the title of the book. I'll definitely look forward to reading the book.
It's called Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidera.
Will Guidera. Okay, yeah. Perfect.
Yeah,
perfect. Good stuff. Good. Yeah, I want to thank you so much for your time. It was a great discussion. Any message you want to leave for entrepreneurs who are looking to either look into investments or trying to build multiple business, or just trying to get into this Safir? Any word of wisdom you can leave for them?
Yeah, try different things always, right? If you're doing something that's not working, try different things, but don't get distracted. I think there's too many people out there selling courses on Instagram and showing off their hypercars and all of that will come. Trust me, it'll come. If you're 24, 25 years old and you feel like you're running out of time, I promise you you're not, right? I felt that way when I was young, and I was, I'm 32 now. And when I was 18, keep in mind, I started business when I was 14. From really 14 to 16, I thought, okay, I'm young, I'm trying to figure it out. From 16 to 18, I thought, okay, that's it. I'm never going to make it. Right.
Yeah.
But I kept trying different things because I lived with my parents. I didn't have any crazy expenses. And then when I actually started making money, I was like, damn, this is not bad. Right. But then I failed. Right. So two things is, try different things. And when you do succeed, that's not the only way to success. So if you're going to jump into different things, or if you're going to try to expand, just listen to other people that have experience in that field. And that's what I learned. And after that little bit of a dip in that failure, I started to learn that you're always going to be learning.
Yeah, but that is the biggest challenge, your generation, right? There's so much distractions, whether it's on social media, whether it's news. There's so many distractions. How do you stay focused on a goals, what you're trying to do? And I think that's the biggest challenge a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah, I mean, look, the way that you stay focused on your goal is you have to actually find out what you're doing this for. Sure, the Ferrari is great.
Yeah,
I got two of them, right? Sure. But my whole thing was not like, ultimately, I wanted my parents to be happy and I want them to be taken care of. I want my family to never have to worry. And if that's your goal, stay focused on that. Do not worry about the distractions, the cars, the watches. I promise you, if you stay focused on that goal, everything else will be a byproduct. You'll be able to do whatever the heck you can. And a lot of people, they get $100,000 and they go buy that car and they go buy that watch. I'm guilty of it too, right? My first thing is like, okay, I made my first like 20 grand, 30 grand. Okay, if I buy a Rolex, and I'll justify it by saying like, oh yeah, when people see me wearing a Rolex, they're going to want to give me more business. Maybe not, but stay focused on your actual goal.
Yeah, most I think people, that's a challenge.
Yeah. Most people, they want the cars, they want the watches, they want the private jets. Great. Right. But they're not evil. They're not there to just, oh yeah, I want to do this because I want to be better than you. It's like, I want the financial freedom. I don't want to wake up and go to work and, just stay focused. And by the way, that's also an unrealistic expectation. As an entrepreneur, you're always waking up to go to work. And whether it's 3:00 in the morning or 8:00 in the morning, it doesn't matter, 4:00 in the afternoon or evening, whatever. But the reality of it is if, you really stay focused on the goal, it will not only keep you motivated, but it will make sure that you don't get distracted. For me, it was my parents. For you, it might be your spouse and children. Right? For you, it might be also your parents. For you, it might just be that, look, I have to prove something to myself and nobody else. But find that core reason. It's not just to be rich. Like, I want to be rich because I want to do whatever the hell I want. Okay, why? Oh, because I don't want anybody to tell me what to do. Why? Do you have a chip on your shoulder? Do you think people are bad? Like, oh no, because I want to take care of my family. I never want my wife to worry, and like sometimes I've had people say I had a lot of issues with my marriage before because of the financial issues, and I never want to deal with that in this marriage again, or whatever it may be. Okay, stay focused on that, right? Don't let these distractions come in your way, because there will be a lot of them. And that little bit of success sometimes is the reason that you don't get
takes you off the track. But yeah, you need a higher motive than simply just buying those toys that you're going to buy for yourself, whether it's cars or
by the way, nothing against that. Like, have your fun, but stay focused on the goal.
Yeah, but that wasn't the goal, right? The goal was something else, and that's just a byproduct of it, right?
Exactly. And, a lot of people think that is, if I show success, if I fake it till I make it, I'm going to go ahead and that's what it's going to be. Trust me, a lot more people, right, fall off before they're able to make it while they're faking it. So, don't go crazy, don't go nuts and just be like, okay, I'm going to burn all this. And it's not a bad habit to want those things. I keep saying that because a lot of people think that, look, this is my only purpose. It's okay to want the nice watches, want the nice cars and all of that. It's okay. But that's not the only reason you should be doing it. Because if that's the only reason you're doing it, I promise you're going to get distracted.
Yeah. I've listened to Grant Cardone. I follow this guy quite a bit. He was always talking about, get to the passive income where you have investments working for you instead of you working the direct money you're making. So then you buy all the toys and all that stuff, right? So it's a different approach to it. But yeah, definitely you want to buy all that stuff, but it's not that was not the goal. Goal was something else. This is just a luxury that you achieved over time.
Yeah, and I think too many people are focused on getting that passive income. First, get income.
Well, that's
don't be worried about working in your business. I think too many people are like, okay, I don't want to work in my business. You haven't started the business. You have to work in your business before you can work on your business. That's just how it is. But first and foremost, you have to understand the business from inside out, because if you don't understand it, I promise you your team won't either.
Yeah, that's where the hard work is. I think that's where the grind is, right? If you afraid of the grind and the hard work working in your business, there's never going to be other opportunities. You got to master that for you to make the money.
Yeah, and I think here's another little piece of advice. I didn't know what it meant when people said work harder. what am I supposed to do? Work harder on what? Operations? What do I do? Like, and to me, this is just my piece of advice. Work harder on getting sales, right? Build your product as you go, but work harder on getting customers, right? And then once you have those customers, work harder on keeping those customers. Build
Yeah.
that team out. A lot of people are way too lost. They'll sit there, they'll watch more YouTube videos. They're like, okay, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do next. Just
Yeah.
work harder on, when people say building your business just means bringing in more customers,
Yeah.
right?
Well, hey, listen, look, what are you and I doing right now? We chatting, and definitely we want to get the word out and build that influence. That's part of the business, right? So we are working on the weekends. I mean, this
Yeah.
is what it takes to build that, right? So yeah, definitely. If I meet somebody, in a customer side, somebody says, "Listen, I'm trying to solve this communication problem or video problem. What do you think I'm going to do?" I'm going to say, "Listen, I had a great discussion with Sahir. Here's the link. Watch
Yeah.
the video and reach out to him." What
I
I did,
appreciate
I
that.
just
Yeah.
I solved the problem, right?
Yeah.
So I'm using that example, but I do that for all the time. Whether somebody, if I talk to somebody, an HR expert, and I go to company and they have a HR issues, what do you think of what I'm going to do? I'm going to take that HR video link and I send it to the person. So listen, I had a great discussion. Listen to this person and buy his book or reach out to him. Maybe he can help. So back to your point to working on a sales. It's all about the connection, human connections, and trying to add value to somebody and definitely grow your company on a daily basis.
Yeah. And let me ask you something. How many times has that like helped you immensely? Where it's like
Tons of time.
out of nowhere, somebody refers somebody to you.
A lot of times. Maybe we can do business together, but they know somebody else who can do business, right? So it's just building connections and adding value to each other and helping out.
In business, they say there's ABC, which is always be closing, right? I look at that as always be connecting. Trust me, I've made so much money with just connecting people. There are times where I just connected somebody and I got a check in the mail. Like, what is this for? Oh, this is your cut. I didn't ask for a cut. It's
Yeah.
like, no. You helped us. We did this. We did that. And we think you deserve something. And I'm not saying that that's what you should expect. I think you should go into it with no expectations. In fact, it's funny because I had a business partner and his 5-year-old daughter was the one that told me this. I was sitting down and I was going like, hey, like, I've been working so hard and I've been helping people, but like, how do I further build my network? And this is a long, long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he just goes, yeah, I don't know. And, we were talking and he goes, yeah, seems like you're doing the right thing. And so his daughter started asking me questions. She, what is this, et cetera, et cetera. I told her, well, a network is you have a bunch of friends and you help them. And in return, they help you. And she goes, yeah, but friends help each other, even if they don't help you. And I was like, what? I was like, you better be quiet. But then I thought about it and I was like, yeah. She's right. Like my expectations, and I promise you, Gurmeet, when I stopped expecting, it's like things just started happening. Because when I don't know if it was my perspective or if it was like, I was genuinely surprised where it's like, oh, hey, Safir, by the way, I got this guy for you. Oh, hey, I want you to hop on this call and connect with this guy. And if it didn't work out with this guy, then it was somebody that this guy who connected me to this guy who connected me to this guy. So, always be connecting, not just with people, but always be connecting people with each other.
Yeah. I tell you my ritual I have. I learned from Jesse. I forgot his last name. The guy who has written a book on, he spent 40 days with the SEALs. Forgot his last name.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yep.
So he does this, and I learned that from him. And I did that for 6 months. I'm still doing it. So in the morning when you get up, the people you connected the day before, just send them a handwritten card, just thank you card.
Yeah.
I spend about half an hour. It takes, the write a cards, put a stamp on, put them in a mail.
You're a better man than I could never.
It took a long time. It's not easy because, you forget about it. Sometimes then you do a 10 and then another day you do one, I've gone through that. And then I kind of came to the point that it becomes solid now, right? Half an hour, I can get the cards out, handwritten, just thank you cards.
Yeah. I think it's the little things that make a huge difference.
I get so many phone calls back with that stuff. Simply say, hey, thanks for sending me something. I know we had a quick chat. So, but it just, back to your point, just give in instead of expecting anything back. You just give it. You're sending your energy out. Simply say, listen, thank you. Thanks for doing something.
And it's hard, man. It's hard when you first start that business. It's hard to just give give, especially when you're like 40, 45 years old and your time is a lot more valuable than when you were 18. So it's
Agreed.
hard to, and I've seen entrepreneurs go, man, I think my time is worth too much for me to be doing this. And I always say, I promise you it's not.
It's not.
It doesn't matter. Like I want to be making like so much more per hour, but this is where you need to start. Right now, you're not worth this, and this is where you need to get to.
Hey.
And I can teach you how to not make the same mistakes that I did, or make the same mistakes that a 24-year-old would, or an 18-year-old would. But you have to do your time.
How many sales presentations you did where you didn't close a deal? What money did you made out of those?
Oh man,
you know what I mean? So
thousands probably. Like I'm not even kidding. Like,
how much? If you talk about hourly, how much money you should be making. So those presentations, you didn't make anything.
No,
you might have learned something. So salespeople know this, how to give without even expecting anything back out of those presentations, right? So if you think that I want to make more and my time is more worth it, if you have the mindset, you will never have those free presentations where you didn't close the deals.
Absolutely. And it's got to be a growth mindset in terms of how you want to grow, not just your business, but as a person, right? Yeah. I think the best entrepreneurs that I've found are people that are always looking to learn somewhere
and to give back
and to implement that in their life.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of that, yeah, you're right. Absolutely. A lot of that has to do with giving.
Yeah. Very interesting. Hey, listen, it's an interesting discussion. I can go on forever. We can learn from each other. It's a great discussion. But where can people find you? How can they connect with you, Safir?
They can connect with me on LinkedIn, Safeer Qureshi. They can also connect with me on Instagram, Safir Snaps, Safeer Snaps.
I'll put a link, all the links below the video as well, so they can click a link and just connect with you.
Absolutely. And I'm always happy to answer any questions. I travel a lot, but I'm always happy to hop on a Zoom call or get on WhatsApp and talk to you. And, I love helping entrepreneurs grow. It's just, I don't know. I've seen it happen over and over again. And it's just that little bit of dopamine hit when you see an entrepreneur that you've helped and they come back and go, yeah, I did it. You were right. And this is what happened. And I go, damn right.
You did it. Nice. Yeah. Good. Hey, business leaders are watching, either they're listening to us on a podcast or they're watching us on a video. From our discussion, I learn a lot. I will definitely recommend everybody who's watching or listening to us, if you made it this far in our discussion, reach out to you for conversations. Who knows where the discussion is going to take you? Click a link below and just reach out to you, connect with you, have a discussion. That's how we learn from each other, the way we learned from each other for last hour, right? So definitely, they all going to learn from you if they connect with you. So thank you so much for your time, Safir.
Absolutely, man. It was a pleasure being here.
Okay, likewise. Thank you.